To start off, let's talk about what is a trigger. So a trigger is any strong emotional response where your emotional response is out of proportion to the event that has happened. You are not really responding to the event that is happening right now. The response that you're having is to something in the present moment that reminds you of something in your past. So that really then encompasses what a trigger is. It is an intense response to something that consciously or unconsciously reminds you of a person or an event out of your past. The most important thing that we can do when it comes to beginning to manage our emotional triggers is to understand that your triggers, your responsibility. So what we want to do is we want to begin to start taking responsibility for how we are feeling, and we want to start to take responsibility for our own emotional growth and our own emotional healing. Reality is going to happen, situations are going to happen, people are always going to do things. But how you respond to those things is going to determine how you feel. And when we give our power away to other people, where we release responsibility of taking care of our triggers, that puts us in a position where our life is being lived for us. We don't have the possibility there to really step fully into our full potential and to live well-balanced lives where we are in a space of self-confidence and self-love and self-trust. Taking responsibility for your feelings is a mindset shift. We need to start to think differently about the way that we see the world and where we see ourselves fit into that world. It's a very easy way of being, and I think it's being perpetuated by definitely social media and the things or the way that the world is portrayed. It's very easy to put the blame of our situation on external circumstances and on external people. You are leaving yourself powerless. You are not giving yourself any opportunity or any grace to begin to change and create your world in a way that is more supportive to you. Once we take responsibility for our own feelings, once we are prepared and willing to become the driver of our own experience and our own journey, then we can start the healing process. And that begins with developing a level of self-awareness and self-exploration. Start looking at what are some of the belief systems or the beliefs about yourself and your life that you carry along with you. As children, we take on the belief systems of our caregivers, of the society that we grow up in, of our culture, and there comes a time where these beliefs are no longer true for us. So it's a good idea to periodically examine your beliefs, examine your perceptions, examine the way that you interpret the world. And when you discover beliefs that are no longer true and that are not supporting you, then you can begin to reprogram, you can begin to change them. Now, two of the most common beliefs that many people walk around with, again, unknowingly, we have these beliefs a lot of the time, we're not even aware of this, is the belief that I'm not good enough or the belief that I'm not lovable. And those are the beliefs that can wire your hot buttons, you know, those buttons that people push, the people in your lives, they push these buttons because they know that they're going to get a reaction or a response from you. But the thing is you don't have to have these buttons. We can diffuse this underlying anger and frustration that we have that causes us to be emotionally triggered as a result of our beliefs and as a result of where we put the accountability of who is responsible for my feelings, who is responsible for how I show up in the world. Some of the questions that you can ask yourself in this journey of self-exploration is, when did I give my power away? And why do I continue to give my power away? Because as a child, it's understandable that we can take on some of the beliefs and some of the things of the world around us, but there comes a point where we are grown-ups, we are adults, and we can start to choose differently. Now, the thing is, with our brains and our minds and the way that our mind functions, It is difficult to begin to function differently if you keep on thinking in the same way. So that's why it starts with the mindset shift that says, I am going to take responsibility for my emotional well-being. I'm going to take ownership of my emotions and of my emotional responses. And once you take that ownership, then the healing can begin. Then the investigation and the exploration into what were the events and the people and the circumstances that led to me showing up in this way, and how can I begin to heal this? Now, one of the techniques that is very helpful in working through some of these beliefs and limitations through our triggers is when we do inner child work. Your inner child is that part of you that is still trying to protect you today. It's trying to protect you from harm. It's trying to protect you from getting into trouble. It's trying to protect you and keep you safe. So it responds in certain ways, and it shows up and triggers you in certain ways because it's trying to keep you safe. As children, often we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice in the things that we are taught to believe and in the way that we show up. But when we are adults, we get to choose. We get to choose who we are going to be, how we're going to show up, and how we are going to manage ourselves and our lives and our emotions. We literally create our reality by the way that we look at it. And this is now where we step into sovereignty. So we are moving into a space where we leave the self-indulgence behind, the self-indulgence of where we're putting the blame onto the external world and the reason for why I'm feeling like this onto the external world. And instead we're moving into what I call compassionate self-responsibility, where I don't judge myself for what I'm feeling, but instead I'm leaning into this. I'm allowing myself to feel all of my feelings. I often say it's when we expose these things to the light, they begin to dissolve. As long as we suppress and hide and deny our feelings, they fester and they just hold more power over us. But the moment that we just show what is there and we bring it to the light, then the true healing can begin. We are ultimately responsible for our own well-being and our own lives. And as long as we walk around with the idea that other people have power over our emotions and our feelings and our whole life experience, we are never going to be free to show up as our full, beautiful, authentic selves and lead happy lives where we are satisfied with the things that we have in our lives, where we have strong relationships, where we foster self-love, and where we have good self-esteem, strong confidence in our own abilities, and we trust ourselves to make the right decisions and to just be who we are. I'm going to leave a link for you in the description below. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you'll find all the information there, and you can book a 20-minute free discovery call so we can get to know each other first. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, share it with your friends. Remember to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.